cops can't do, oh man, it's gravy. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wrestler Review Patreon. You should turn this video off and go watch cop auditing videos on YouTube where people engage police in situations where technically the cop is doing the wrong thing, but they don't know it because American law is so insane. And then the person's like, this ticket means nothing now. It is so fucking satisfying, almost as satisfying as Braun Strowman's return to internet wrestling community.
So he's back. Is he back like being fucking sick? Is he back
He
being
is
like,
back being sick. He is back. Dylan
if you
got
ever
it.
don't make as much as me, then you're worse. That's what
exactly.
God intends.
Just
But
in
like,
time for the midterm election in 2022, Braun Strowman is running to be Kane.
it sucks that like part of wrestling used to be these guys are fucked. And like now you just can't be fucked anymore because everyone's too good.
No, I disagree. Are you ready for it?
Tell me.
You can be fucked. The thing is that's happened in the last 5 years. What happened?
Oh, we got some fucking Wi-Fi problems.
Oh, no. It's crystal clear on my end, Dylan. Best you've ever looked.
Hello.
Hello. Is it me?
You said, "Are you ready for it?" And then I wasn't apparently because it just stopped. Continue.
So Braun Strowman. So weird it is this is everyone used to like all the fucking weirdos used to have really bizarre, crazy political opinions, but you just didn't ask them about politics. The problem is now we ask everyone about everything. Like when you used to say, "How are you?" that specifically pertained to your mood, not your opinions.
Yeah, no politics at the dinner table is very dead.
Oh my God. I just did a cruise for 1 week. I just worked a cruise for 7 days because daddy need to eat and daddy
100%.
live in a country within a recession. I have to tell you, I really
Cruises
felt,
are fucking sick.
I got to tell you, so not what I was expecting. First of all, I was just in a comedy club. Doing that cruise was like doing Yuck Yuck's road one-nighters. It was like, holy shit, here are all my friends' parents, pretty drunk. Let me tell you what that cruise was, Dylan. That cruise was half a gay bear meetup festival.
Daddy like.
Of course. And other half, I didn't get the name of this conference, but some sort of like there were too many people wearing American flag baseball caps with shirts that were very provocative.
Ooh. There's the
Ask
old
me about my other gun.
Make America Come Again.
No, didn't see any of those hats. Saw a lot of those badges. And so one Q patch on a lady's bag. Yes, please. Not
Q
one
patch.
into QAnon.
Ooh, not like queer. Not
No.
just like I'm up for it.
No. Well, there were, let me say this about the Bear Festival and the people with Q patches, same level of beards.
Do you watch The White Lotus?
I do not watch The White Lotus.
Anyway,
but not
it's like this
one crossword. Is there crosswords in The White Lotus, Dylan?
The White Lotus, right? Is a show about basically it's a anthology and it's about what do you call it? It's about this really nice resort and basically every time I see an episode of The White Lotus, I just imagine they're like doing this really super sexy and intriguing thing and then just seeing me or one of my friends just bombing in the background because like that's where you have to fucking I performed at a birthday party and the lady, it was just cash and I made it very certain it was just cash and she kept suggesting material for me to do and I just kept ignoring it rather than addressing it because
of course
if you do comedy then you know that like people suggest material that they think would work and then you go sure. And then you just do the show and it goes well and they're like, oh, that went well, thank God. But this lady, the show went well, but she was still pissed I didn't use her suggestions and accused me of stealing her money. And then I just wrote, she was like, you mailed it in and it was just a paycheck. And I just wrote, she said, you know what you did? And I said, what did I do? What did I fucking do? Anyway. It was fucking infuriating where it was like.
I got a better one. I'm not trying to do this, but I know exactly the feeling you're talking about, which is... did I ever tell you about the time I performed for the board of directors for Via Rail?
No.
Tony Baloney at Old Yuck Yucks got me this gig where the head of Via Rail's wife loved the Comedy Central roasts. Are you,
Jeez.
are you ready for this? So she hired me without telling her husband
Mm-hmm.
or all of his coworkers.
Surprise comedy show.
Surprise comedy roast.
You thought you were just gonna have a nice dinner? Nope. This guy is gonna call you a pussy.
Yep, and she also, here's a couple of things she did not know about her husband. Does not like being made fun of. Doesn't find it funny.
He doesn't like being made fun of.
Doesn't like it.
So it's just basically, I'm unhappy in my marriage. Please end this for me.
That's correct. And then she, to cover for the fact it was all her idea. This is one of 3 times in my life where I've
She
been
acted
being.
like you just showed up and we're like,
That's
this
correct.
guy's
She
a
did that,
pussy.
and
This
I will
guy's a
never.
fucking prick.
I will
That's
never
dope.
forget this. It was in a. I've played this golf course, this golf course, 3 separate times. One time was with Johnny Coy and Nicole Arbor, and I thought I lost the keys to my Matrix, and I was so upset because I couldn't be in that room one step longer because Nicole Arbor was literally saying insane things.
Yeah.
I'm flying to Los Angeles tomorrow, and I was like, I don't think you are. I have a date here. She'd come alone. Insane stuff. Donnie Coy was just full on hitting on her. And it was so
I like that.
hey, maybe. Anyway, couldn't find my keys to that. Anyway, she's literally hitting me in the chest with the check next to her husband. Do you understand how rude that was? Do you understand how rude that was? I'm not giving you that check. And I remember just taking the check like this. I went whoop out of her hand like that. And I went, you have to give me the check. Check your contract. If you don't do that, you have to pay double the money. And she was like, what? And I was like, you can call Yuck Yucks on Monday and they'll refund the money, but you have to give me the check right now. And then I ran to a bank and deposited the check because for some reason they'd put it in my name, and I just gave Yuck Yucks their 15%. And she apparently called Yuck Yucks every day for like 3 months demanding the money back, and they just said no. And I live in
Of
fear
course.
every day. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's insane. What? But Dylan, you should do cruises. Hey, let me tell you why. Here's the one reason why to do it. If you've done Canadian road gigs, it's so
That's all
much
they
easier.
are.
It's all they are. And here's the thing with Americans is
Yeah, get on I don't give a fuck. Get me on, man. I'll do anything.
Americans
I do
don't have
whole.
crowd work. Like they don't do crowd work because they never learn how to host.
Mhm.
So I asked someone, I pointed at a guy who was literally wearing a shirt that like implied he was a contractor. And I was like, let me guess, you love Home Depot? I could have been the king of the cruise. I could have gotten an S for a lot of Susans above the age of 65.
Whoa! Sucked by a Susan. That's my new fucking sitcom I'm making.
Sucked by Susan, Sucky
Yeah.
Susan.
Instead of Suddenly Susan, Sucked by a Susan.
Isn't it crazy that suddenly Susan, all of the people on that show are now no longer famous? If you showed a photo of Brooke Shields to a 30-year-old, they're like, who is that nice lady?
Here's the crazy thing about Brooke Shields is that she was like fucking 14 in that Lagoon movie, and everyone was like,
Oh, the fucky suck time from the fucking child.
Like, do you?
makes me even think like, is Jerry Lawler bad, or is it just we heard about it now?
I think that's
And everyone's like, no, 15 is good because 15, right? There's a 5. When it's a 6, ew, bruised bananas. But then you get a little bit. It's a little ripe when it's 15. Ooh, Brooke Shields, yum yum yum.
Look no further by the fact how many different websites there were just
Oh,
counting
yes.
down when the Olsen twins became 18.
Yeah,
It was
and it was negative. They were like, it's over for them.
yeah, one of them was called boo.com.
Gross.ew.
Yeah, vomittown.net.
Brooke Shields. Ooh, she was at Princeton. You think I gave a shit?
Yeah. I know
You think I
don't.
gave a shit, you old fucking bitch?
Whoa.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay, here you go. This is it. 2 decades of her movies. Her best known films are still arguably The Blue Lagoon, which included nude scenes from teenage lovers on a tropical island. And she later said there were body doubles. How old was she in The Blue Lagoon?
13.
Actually 15.
Ugh.
That's fucking disgusting. And every one of our, like a good portion of our dads were like,
Oh, no, 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 no,
Were.
no, no, no.
I guarantee they're still like, if they're in a hotel room at some sort of sales conference and the Blue Lagoon is on in between episodes of Storage Wars, they're making Tim Allen grunting noises while having a J. Oh, 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 oh. I can't get this to work in stand up, but I do believe this, which is the craziest thing to me in the world. Imagine being one of the 3 people Tim Allen put away by turning state's evidence against them for cocaine trafficking. Do you understand how every day I wouldn't be able to get over that? Who betrayed me and got 3 years when I did 25 years in prison? The voice of Buzz Lightyear. There is no
how fucked up,
comeuppance for
how
betrayal.
crazy is it that like he can do that and just be free and not murdered? Like people talk about Takeshi 6ix9ine being around and like he turned states on like every single person who ever knew him, but Tim Allen did it, and Tim Allen like he's on fucking ABC.
Yeah, not only is he on ABC,
How
he's
crazy it is to be like, I'm
right-wing
gonna rat
guy.
out everyone and then become famous.
I'm going to rat out everyone and then become a right-wing celebrity that's like, let me tell you what's wrong with the kids today. And I'm like, motherfucker, you were a cocaine smuggler.
Cocaine, dude.
Like-
Cocaine, not weed.
Not weed, not fun Michigan weed, hanging out with a couple of people from the UP. You know what I
Fucking
mean?
crazy.
A couple of guys named Barry who live in what would really be described as sheds,
man.
but they've
guys who
winterized them.
guys who wear bed sheets but as clothes.
Yeah. You know, type of guy that have quote unquote formal sweatpants.
Yeah, exactly. The most they will do is wear black jeans. That's the most.
Like,
That's like
and
it's a
funeral,
wedding.
and no,
black jeans.
A wedding? No, you're absolutely. We're talking the people that show up to a T-shirt at a funeral. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, tuck it in.
My favorite is the
T-shirts
guy,
tucked in.
T-shirt tucked in, ponytail neatly in a nice ponytail. You know what I mean? The hair's not flowing. Then they're like, we're here to mourn.
All right, let's talk some fucking horse shit, John. Logan Paul, is he better than me?
Yes.
Logan Paul. Here's what I will ask you a question on the celebrities that wrestle. Where is he? I will say second.
Second to RoboCop.
No, K-Fed. But yeah, sure. RoboCop's third then.
RoboCop is second. K-Fed is 1. Logan Paul is third. No,
Okay,
Logan
good.
Paul is 4th after Snooki. Snooki was a better heel.
Snooki was the high point for a long time because she could do handspring elbow, and it was like, wow, I didn't think anyone would take it that seriously. And now it's like Bad Bunny and Logan Paul are walking in as like, oh, these are like good indie wrestlers. Like, how easy is wrestling that these guys can just walk in and they're good at it?
But I also like Logan Paul is also an athlete. Like it's that thing of people are acting like this fucking fat fuck from YouTube. It's like Logan Paul boxed 3 people. Like it's one of those things where he has incredible conditioning and was like a football star in high school. Like Logan Paul is the popular kid who gave a bunch of people PTSD who are just like into books.
And then
Much
now
like
he's
much
doing
like
great.
Tim Allen becoming Buzz Lightyear after turning on those people. I
Oh,
guarantee
shit.
they're like that guy.
I'm gonna get
stole my
something. Sorry,
girlfriend.
I'm gonna get something. 1 sec.
Go. That guy stole my girlfriend and is now a multi-millionaire being flown to Saudi Arabia with his brother. For those of you listening just to the feed, Dylan's taking a full phone call, and I can tell because I read lips. He just said, "No, I got time to talk." Let me say this about Logan Paul entering into the WWE. Nothing is more wonderful than when we're like, "Oh, these companies are going to change," and then they still do that nice, subtle sprinkling of the spice on top of our delicious meal by being like, oh, by the way, we stole Adam Page's finishing move. Fuck you. And now it is all over the internet because of how well Logan Paul did the buckshot lariat. But I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. There is absolutely no fucking way under God's glorious sun that Logan Paul did the buckshot lariat better than Hangman Page because Hangman Page innovated the move. You know what I'm saying? You can't compare it. It's apples and oranges. Dylan, but for those of you listening, by the way, is looking very concerned on the phone now. I think he got the test results back, and it's not benign. I don't know what he's. Oh, he's now doing that classic thing. He's got the phone on his shoulder. Fantastic. But again, one of the things I also want to talk about is there was all this speculation over whether or not Jake Paul was going to participate. I just like Jake Paul is the greatest heel on the history of the internet. I don't understand. Yeah, the Pauls are a different type of celebrity, but clearly Logan can back it up in the ring. Jake is just a piece of shit. I just think that they're being given a bit too much power as wrestlers. Do you know what I'm saying? Like there needs to be a bit more. I'm so excited to find out who Dylan was talking to on the phone when he comes back, by the way. But yeah, that's my sort of thoughts. Crown Jewel, by the way, isn't it crazy how that used to be once a year? We'd all get very upset that WWE would go to Saudi Arabia. And in light of the McMahon charges, we're all like, yeah, seems right. And yeah, I'm still not over that Vince McMahon photo of him in that restaurant in New York. He looked so sad and so fucking weird. Oh my God, never get facial surgery, guys. Just age gracefully or not gracefully, but still just age. Now, here is the thing to, of course, remember is where is this actually going to go with old Logan Paul? Because they can back up a certain amount of money, but at a certain point, he is not going to give up doing 8 podcasts and hanging out with weird porn stars in his stupid house. Although I guess he is actually getting a lot of mainstream success off of this because it's one of those things where YouTube is pretty niche in comparison to, say, the WWE. Do you know what I'm saying? Isn't that the oddest thing? In that the WWE more mainstream than YouTubers or less mainstream? I guess it's different for different generations. For the neckbeard 30-year-old weirdos who are not incels but also don't have girlfriends, they are not a mainstream act even a little fucking bit. But for YouTubers and much younger people that's bringing different eyeballs to the WWE, it's really an unknown situation whether or not this is going to pay off to being a good idea. I think it's on paper, it seems very much because we're just like, why the fuck do we want old stinky ass YouTube influencers coming into our wrestling and wrestling it up? But on the inverse, it's bringing more eyes, and God damn it, he can roll. The kid can roll, baby. And yeah, it's an odd situation also of, do you think the WWE approaches celebrities at this point and they're like, listen, we can train you to do this shit? Because if that's true, just make a celebrity wrestling league reality show. Like that's actually crazy. If they should use Logan Paul to pivot from this into hosting a show where celebrities wrestle. Wouldn't that be fucking great? For those of you still listening, by the way, Dylan, just having a fun catch up on the phone. But why don't they do that? Bring back celebrity wrestling championships. For those of you who don't know, Eric Bischoff and Hulk Hogan did a celebrity wrestling TV show called, I don't know, but I just know that the Celebrity Championship Wrestling, Hulk Hogan Celebrity Championship Wrestling, it was on CMT. Oh my God, this is old fucking school. It was on Country Music Television. My God. Dylan, welcome back. We were discussing the WWE creating a celebrity wrestling show where they get trained and have one match, and the person becomes the champion in a version of Hulk Hogan's Celebrity Championship Wrestling.
Yes,
we just don't do it that
Todd
way.
Bridges.
Yes, it was Todd Bridges from Different Strokes. One. The celebrities are pretty nuts in that they're Dustin Diamond, Danny Bonaducci, Eric.
Isn't Dustin Diamond dead?
Dustin Diamond is very much dead.
Guess he's lose. He lost.
He fucking did. Oh no, what's even crazier? The main tribute he got after he was dead was driver number 52 in NASCAR, Josh Bilicki.
Bilicki
ran a tribute car for Dustin Diamond, which
Jesus.
finished 18th at the 2021 Verizon 200. Didn't even win.
He did stand up at Humber College, and I didn't go there, but my friends were like, yeah, he just is really bitter that Zach was successful, I guess.
Yeah, he was apparently super bitter, and he was one of those guys. Him and Ron Jeremy, I think, had the same manager.
Oh no.
Oh my God. Let me tell you.
No, that's not good.
Let me tell you, the first thing I'm doing if I get any type of success ever in Los Angeles is you immediately move, because if you go right back down, the people you end up with are so weird. So many just men in fanny packs. Like just, like a guy, Dylan, you know specifically who I'm talking about. A guy who's paired a fanny pack with a suit.
No. I've never
You
seen that in my life.
you've never seen that in your life?
No.
Man, you've gone up in terms of stand-up comedy. The amount of I've met two people that called themselves managers of comedians wearing suits with fanny packs. One of them then
The
had to
worst I
pay
ever
to get
saw
into
was
the
Emo
improv.
Phillips
Crazy.
walking around Yuck Yucks, and then everyone was like, "Wow, Emo Phillips, he's a legend." And then I watched him take a plastic bottle of Russian Prince vodka and just take a swig out of his pocket, and I was like, "Ooh, this is not good." And that was like, I think I was in my 20s. That's when I was like, you get the inkling where you're like, maybe you don't just live for this. Maybe you got
Oh my god,
you
yeah.
got to get something else going on.
I remember I took a sip of what I thought was my Diet Coke, and it turned out another guy had just taken a glass from the Yuck Yucks bar and then filled it with spiced rum and a splash of iced tea. And then that guy took it, drained the entire thing in front of me, and his entire 10-minute set was just a freestyle rap about a seagull shitting on him.
That's good.
Like I
So
killed him.
when's the bad part? So, John, what do you think about Twitter now? Everyone's talking about it. Twitter. This is a tech podcast now. Do you think Twitter is done? Do you think it was ever like, so I heard this thing about Twitter where it's like, because of, let's say the big four are Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, and Twitter, or I guess TikTok is in there.
TikTok
so it's
and
big five.
Twitter. I wouldn't say I would take Snapchat out and put TikTok in personally.
Well, Snapchat has more daily users than Twitter does.
That's this. I know this is the shocking thing. Twitter has a tiny, way smaller amount of daily
Very,
users.
very small.
300 million.
But it's just because, like, if the president announces something, they don't even do it on the news anymore. They do it, like, over Twitter. So that's, like, it's this outweighed. That's why it's important. But anyway, and
it has incredible cultural significance. What is very interesting already is by removing the verified check thing. There's a lot of speculation because they haven't brought that in yet, but you're going to lose a lot of people right away because what he has not answered is, and by the way, I'm not this smart. I've listened to 2 podcasts about this, is Elon Musk is not, Elon Musk has a real blind spot whenever he joins a company in that he doesn't think he's ever done something wrong, in that he's that
crazy.
In that he's literally that guy where they're like, SpaceX has been a success from the beginning, and they're like, I mean, we had 18 explosions. Like, it has not been a success.
Yeah.
And he's like, that was not true. And he just ignores it. But the difference, what they're pointing out, which is very good because it's a social media website, is your mistakes live on because your mistakes basically scar the infrastructure of that social media. And what they're like, he's not realizing what he's doing is unless he's really, really careful in terms of like on the spot, huge moderation team, or completely changes the structure and culture of Twitter, he's going to inadvertently turn it into a wasteland like in a month, because he's going to remove those blue checks, and all it's going to take is one person to impersonate someone and someone to die. And Elon's problem is he's created a paper trail where he's actually not culpable, but it's enough for someone to try and sue him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just opens so many more legal headaches. It blocks so many other things that it's going to be a bad idea in the end, but it's not going to crash in the way that people think it will. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it's really weird to be like, to buy something you love. Like, it's like buying, it's like maybe relate to wrestling, saying Tony Khan buying a wrestling company, but not really. Like, I'm thinking like you just bought something you're addicted to. It's like,
it's because he's trying to turn Twitter into an everything app like WeChat in China. But it's that thing of, imagine, so how Elon Musk operates is he's like shitty Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs would walk in and be like, it's a phone that's a TV, get on it. But then he'd be like, here's $2 billion in R&D, and here's all this information we have about what is possible, what will be possible in like a day, a week, a month, a year. Elon Musk just does the first part and then just starts telling people that he's already done it, and then starts selling people that he's already done it, and then goes back to them and he's like, hey, I've sold 1 billion units of this self-driving car. Can you guys figure that out? And they're like, no, because the technology is like 2 years away from being able to recognize the difference between the bridge and underneath the truck. And he's like, well, just do it with cameras. And they're like, I mean, the only problem though is that like probably we're going to kill like a couple of thousand people. And he's like, I just heard we can do it, so let's have at it. So that's what it is. It's just going to be a disaster. In the same way, bear in mind, Elon Musk said we would have self-driving cars. Has said we're going to have self-driving cars like 80 times, and he's like, in 8 months, and it's not ever happened. Like, the guy is an incredibly good marketer. You know what I mean? Like, and And
The
he's
whole
only,
Ralph Nader thing where he's like, Tesla was an amazing investment, an amazing company until Elon Musk came. I was like, we're doing automated cars, and then it was like, we can't do that. And now it's the most dangerous car company in the world because
it's
it's
the
like,
most dangerous car company in the world, and the entire reason why Elon Musk is against the Democrats is because the Democrats' environmental bill called for an end of cap and trade, which is Elon Musk. So Tesla is a car company technically because they don't have any emissions. They still have all of these emission credits that they can sell to the other car companies, and because they have so many, that's how Tesla makes a good portion of its money.
mhm,
What they're going to do is be like, electric car companies no longer need cap and trade points,
mhm.
or they're much more limited because it's just going to be for your carbon of your factory. And if that happens, Tesla's done. Like, guys,
Yeah.
understand this is a guy who made what that PayPal needed one feature of his shitty pay company X that was just used by pornographers and pedophiles,
No.
and they bought it. And then he was like, cool, I got a bunch of money. And then he just like makes up some fiction about his life and then just keeps having a bunch of kids. Like, he sucks. He just sucks. Also, why are we, who venerates billionaire losers who bring us, the other thing is he's not fun. You know what I mean? Do you want to know why I bring up the Liver King all the time? He's a crazy person that's fun. He showed up at the Queen funeral with yell testicles. That's just good. Like, that's a guy who deserves to be a billionaire. Elon Musk is so annoying. Elon Musk reminds me of a guy that Dylan and Gott and I used to hang out with sometimes. And if you bought a pitcher of beer, he would always go like, hey, mind if I get in on this? And I one time said to that guy, hey, man, you have to buy the next pitcher. And he was like, I'm really poor right now because the comic book shop I work at closed all week. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you. And then that guy from that moment quit comedy. He had no spirit.
Just cucked.
But that's what Elon Musk reminds
yeah.
me of, a guy. If you point out anything and he's like, ah, and then you just buy Twitter. It sucks.
Yeah, the best way to have a lot of money is to already have a lot of money, and that's how
Yeah.
he became the richest man. I mean, obviously, like, I don't make any investments, and I'm too silly to start investing. But, yeah, I don't know. That's the whole thing. Everyone says, like, puts the fucking tombstone on Twitter, but it's like,
It's not going anywhere. It's just gonna get
yeah,
stupid.
what else? What other app does this? Everyone did that already on Facebook, but it's like everyone's on Facebook. Like, that's the whole thing. The reason why Facebook is stopped growing is because it can't. Human population has dictated that it can't.
What's that? Is that, and also human population? Also, Facebook changed in the last 3 years from like a place where you watch your ex-girlfriend get old to a place where your old grandma believes in Joe Biden being a pedophile. Like, it's not fun anymore, and it's also not being used by anyone anymore. I think Twitter will slowly decay in that way. What was crazy about those articles?
Facebook is being used. It's just being used to like sell old couches.
Yeah, it's
Facebook Marketplace has like destroyed Craigslist and destroyed a lot of sites like that.
It's so funny looking back on. It's very similar to a lot of. This is strapping for a wanky conversation. Social media has, much in the way that stand-up comedy in every city is now just centered on one venue. Everything is centered around those four companies adjacent. You know what I mean? Like, and YouTube. But everything else is like, it is a spin-off of either an Instagram post or you bought it on Facebook. That's so we're 2 years away from the best movie at the Academy Award started as an Instagram short.
Well, this is the thing is like you can always track which apps are the best by what gets reposted, and literally like looking at Twitter. The most damning thing I could say about Twitter is most things on Twitter that I see go viral now are just someone tweeting TikTok is crazy and then just posting someone else's TikTok.
Oh, I know.
And it's like, that's all it is. Everything just pulls from TikTok and puts it on their site, and they get like a bunch of views or they don't. Like,
am I the only one that's excited for when they eventually are like, well, TikTok is just spyware. We're shutting.
Everyone knows and they don't care. A good friend of yours, another man you do a podcast with, Chris Betts, gave me a whole 20-minute spiel about how he could never have TikTok and he could never do it. And then Chris Betts got on TikTok. He has a TikTok now. Everyone does it.
Do you want to know how? Do you want to know how he has a different phone for it?
Oh, that makes sense. I was going to do that.
I'm just not like I will start using TikTok because it's part of my business, but I absolutely hate it.
You have to.
It sucks. That it's all going to stop. It's all going to stop within 5 to 10 years. It's all going to stop and will be something
Social
new
media?
because the younger generations again and again are not using it in the same way. My brother is not using any of that social media the same way because he's about to go into the workforce, and his entire life in the background people have lost jobs because they, when they were his age, put crazy shit on social media. Like, that whole generation is so much more choosy and specific, or if they are on social media, it's specifically to be an influencer. You know what I mean? Like, in the way
Yeah.
that, like, we bought a guitar to start a band. You know what I mean? Like, they're not getting into it because it's just a fun thing. They'll be like, they're users, but they're not necessarily engaging in the same way that our generation did and stuff like that. And that trend more than likely is going to continue forward throughout the decade, and it'll become something else again. Or more likely, what it'll do is it'll circle back, and people will be like, they're doing this new thing on Netflix where there's 3 little commercials in the middle of the show, which gives you an opportunity to go
Yeah.
buy a drink.
Well, the barrier to entry now is like seemingly, because I was thinking about it where it's like, if you post stuff regularly online, which I do, it's like you get all of the like hate from being famous without any of the like money.
Yeah,
It's just like 8 people being like,
but some of the hate
you
that,
get too many likes, and then a bunch of people just come in and be like, yeah, that joke was better when the guy telling it wasn't a puss bag. And then
I
it's
was
like, you look
I,
at their profile and it's a 12-year-old.
I was talking to some people. Some, like, a few female comedians cannot use, like, they don't do their own social
No, of
media
course not.
because it was literally like, one person got like traumatic reactions because they would post something, and within like 45 minutes,
Or bitch. Yeah.
what they said was within 45 minutes someone would have DM'd them their address, and it's just like, holy
Jesus.
shit.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think we're on a different thing because, like, definitely every young person I know just uses Facebook and all this stuff, but doesn't post anything. They just have and they follow a bunch of people and they stare into the abyss of their phone. But also,
Yes,
like,
that's exactly what I'm talking about. They engage
we're
with it
in currently No Nut November, and like that whole thing starts is because
of
people
the
have been watching
boys.
fucking porn since they were 3 years old, so they're jacking off so much, dude. There's like
I couldn't
multiple
believe this.
younger comedians that I've who were like had erectile dysfunction when they were 14 because they jacked off so much that it was like they couldn't a woman
What?
or girl in front of them. Yeah. And I thought that was just something that like was on Oprah and was made up, but they were like multiple comedians were like, "No man, that I had erectile dysfunction and had to like basically do shit like No Nut November just to like get back to a baseline of being a normal person."
That is
And I
so
thought,
crazy
I
that I'm
don't
stronger than them. I have more
know.
power than them because there's no way anyone JO'd as much as JOH
That's
had
what I think.
when he was 14.
That's what I'm thinking. Like
I
I was
don't
like,
think it,
how could
Dylan.
anyone have
I
jacked off as
know.
much as me? But that's because we had to watch it download. We had to. There was anticipation, still with us. Not like
It's also
immediate like
what it also
streaming
is.
done.
What it also is, I was not. That's the truth. Is I wasn't
I remember people
14.
having folders of pornography on their computer and not being pedophiles. That was just a normal thing someone would do because you
Uh,
couldn't rely
I'll
on
go
streaming.
a kid in my high school and elementary school made a pretty penny by going to dollar stores and buying those little notebooks, the little flip notebooks, and then he printed out a bunch of porn and he
Yeah,
glued
man.
it onto those pages, and he would sell the page.
It's like every time a new thing that's bad stops, another worse thing starts. Like, selling or like someone would buy cigarettes, or there'd be that variety store in town that just sold cigarettes to fucking 14-year-olds and didn't give a shit. That's bad, right? But
Yeah.
then kids stopped smoking cigarettes. That's good. And then what do? They started
Right.
making their own vape pods, which kills people sometimes. That's worse.
Yeah. Then,
So
oh
like,
my God, there's so much. Oh my God.
oh fuck, I'm giving birth. Next thing up, I want to talk about him. The man who I think may have replaced Barry Darsow as my favorite wrestler of all time, Braun
Braun
Strowman.
Strowman? Yeah, no,
Did you see the TikTok where Braun Strowman,
did not tell
some
me about it.
some weightlifter goes, how tall are you and how much do you weigh? And Braun Strowman goes, I'm 6'8", 355. And then the weightlifter goes, okay, here's the scale. I just want to see that you're 355. And Braun Strowman just walks away and starts yelling, talk to my lawyer.
Oh, that's great.
And he's like, I like you. I just want you to, which is like, Braun Strowman
here's what I
Why
like.
didn't you just be like, how much do I? Oh, okay. Well, I'm listed at this. This is my real height. Like, of course you don't weigh that much. Everyone knows wrestling's fake. They don't think the weights and the heights are real.
Here's what's great about Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman doesn't think that everyone thinks it's fake. Do you understand?
Roman Strowman's the best.
Braun Strowman's intellectually aware that some people could think it's fake, but he
Still the
believes
best tweet of
he's
all time.
so good. I took my father-in-law to a strip club. Yeah, it is the best tweet of all time.
And tried to get his daughter a dance.
Oh, I always forget the daughter part of that. It is. If Dylan, you're a father.
Mm-hmm.
If you, let's say your child in 20
Started
years
dating Braun Strowman.
in 20 years has a girlfriend, and that girlfriend's your son, and your son's girlfriend in 20 years are at dinner in some sort of weird post-apocalyptic wasteland.
Mm-hmm.
It's Demolition Man. You're at a Taco Bell.
We're eating rat, and it costs us $16 million. Yes.
You own nothing, and you will be happy. And she then says, "Let's head on over to a strip club." What do you do right there? Right there, I'm like, no, and you have to break up with my son. Like, I'm just like, come on, man. Like, fuck off. No.
Oh, yeah. He just posted a video of him on a trampoline doing a backflip, and he just put how many stars.
Okay, so the reason why he put that is because Braun Strowman, after his match with Omos at also, when did that guy? Why are we
What?
still doing Vince McMahon things when Vince McMahon is gone? Why did I almost can't wrestle, right? That's what I remember. This was the problem with this guy like 2 years ago when it was AJ Styles is heavy.
So they tried with him, and now he can do a big hoss fight. I don't know. I think it's always good to have a guy like that. And
They got a guy like that, and his name is Braun Strowman, and he's the best.
yes, but here's the thing about Braun Strowman is
He's not going to be there very long because he's going to get fired for saying something crazy. Yeah, you're right.
here's the other thing about Omos. So did you see the video of Omos seeing his parents again after 14 years? I don't know how they're going to keep that guy heel because that was one of the most heartwarming things I've ever seen.
I've never seen. He saw his parents after 14 years. What are you
Yes.
talking about?
He didn't see his parents for 14 years, and then the WWE, which is so funny that he worked for the company for 2 years before they decided to make this video where he was like, "Can I see my parents again?" And they were like, "You're a fucking heel, motherfucker. You can't
Yeah.
get to see your parents until we need to turn you face, you bitch."
You're working fucking stiff almost. You don't fucking see your mom and dad.
My little sister needs a kidney transplant. Can I? No, you fucking can't.
You're
She needs a
working.
kidney transplant in a year or two. She might die by then. I don't fucking care. You're a heel. Pin
Yeah.
your sister's grave, bitch. You motherfucker.
We're doing a buried alive match. Your sister versus kidney disease. Kidney
Everyone
disease
knows
is
it's
gonna
fake.
win.
I'm going to pretend I didn't hear that.
Yeah. La 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 la.
It's
la,
real.
la,
It's real. It's real.
la.
But yeah, almost, yes. Almost would be like, but that's the thing. Here's the thing about wrestling that it shouldn't have lost, but it has, which is you need mentally ill steroid addicts to make a good wrestling league. You
completely
just
agree.
need a. It's
You
funny
just
because like
It's
wrestling
interesting.
and sports have flipped, where it's like sports in the 80s and 90s was all about like all these guys are on a team and the coach can be a hard knocks person who like tells them what to do in a mean way, but they know like we need this and we are, whatever, like they have egos but not that much. And now wrestling is that, and like that's what a booker was a lot. Well, like Bill Watts, like all these fucking guys where you're like, what a fucking racist piece of shit. You're like, yeah, but he's managing the egos of these like fucking psychopath steroid cokeheads. Do you know what I mean? And that's when wrestling was good. And now it seems like pro sports is just like a lot of people who are like, I have more money than God. Why would I listen to you? Guy who makes, a tenth of my salary. And all
This-
you do is manage egos.
Yeah, that's true, and that's why you need a Bobby Knight or a Phil Jackson who either use Eastern mysticism to like confuse the players and they just follow them, or you do what Bobby Knight did and one time middle of a game take a big shit and then show the entire team the paper and go, "This is what you
how
guys
you're
are playing like."
This is how you're playing. Or throw a chair at a child. That's another
Throw a
thing.
chair at a child. Oh yeah, full on choke a guy, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
and then when initially asked if you did it, not only do you don't deny it, you respond by asking the reporter, "How did he play today?" That's my answer.
I mean, Bobby Knight, for all the things you want to say about him, he was the one guy who was like, I don't know why they picked anyone ahead of that Jordan kid. He's the greatest player I've ever seen. So
Did he actually
you're
say
allowed
that?
to, yeah, you're allowed to choke people if you All right.
I mean,
John, you caught up on All Elite Wrestling. Let's
I've
wrap
caught
up on
all of
that
it.
before we get the fuck out of here.
All right. I did not watch All Elite Wrestling when CM Punk, starting with, I didn't
When
follow it
come man
really. I
Punk.
would literally, when we would do chat episodes just to sort of keep this show relatively relative, I would read like 3 tweets about AEW and just sort of cover, because I just wasn't watching the product because CM Punk was there. And I do a show with someone that man was mean to. So I've caught up on AEW in the last year. I watched a bunch of things, read on what some storylines. First of all, can I just say this?
Mm-hmm.
What a wild, wild year. My God. Why, in the name of fuck, did CM Punk lose that match to John Moxley right before All Out? That is still the biggest mystery to me of the whole thing. I can't figure that out. Like, I can't actually see the logic. I think.
Oh, punish. So the rumors are that he was being punished for his Hangman promo, but then he immediately gets the win back.
Yeah, that didn't make
It's just
any
like a fucking quick turnaround Monday Night Raw 2006 situation where it's like, we need to heat this match up fast.
Here's what I think it was, is that I think CM Punk was threatening to leave before the pay-per-view, lost the belt, and was like, actually, no, if you let me work with MJF, I will stay. Here's what I want to know. My question, this is my big question.
Mhm.
Where is MJF on this whole thing? If like we're talking real deep,
Yeah, apparently he was there.
He was there
when
the fight
when
happened.
the fight happened, yeah.
But here's my question: is what, like, because it really seems like MJF was coming back, and then Punk remembered, oh, I want to work with this guy, I'll do it. And it's so clear he got injured in the ring, and then did that promo because he was going to have to give up the title again, and didn't want to. He was realizing he's never coming back to wrestling, and he wanted to leave a big impact. I fucking hate CM Punk.
That is the other thing where it's like CM Punk coming back. They do the interim title match, I think, to pop a rating on Dynamite. I don't know specifically. Maybe years later this will all come out. It's fun to have wrestling that's like debatable again.
It is fun to have wrestling that is
Because
debatable.
it feels like there's stakes because it was really good and now it's like fine. You know what I mean? Because it's like it's too all over the place. And like you can look at the fucking, like we did that episode of Tony Khan. I think that's the smartest thing we ever did, was like track how the sports franchises that he's involved with did, where it's like initial boost of getting a bit better and then just being shit, because this guy clearly like got jobs from his dad but also wants to justify it by trying to figure out how to put in 20 hours of work at everything he does, and he just can't. Like, just have one job, man.
It's also that thing of have one job and have a staff. Like, the staff of AEW don't make any sense. Why the fuck is Jeff Jarrett there? Like, that is the worst. I guess
to be
decision.
a road. No, you know why? Probably to replace Ace Steel, because Ace Steel was a road agent. They fired him, or producer.
I guess, but again, it's one of those things where, is Jeff Jarrett respected and liked? Like, everything, like that guy always comes across.
He is backstage. He's a finesser, and he can also do that thing that alcoholics do, where I'm a different person now. I stopped drinking.
Let me say this, by the way, as someone who has a lot of friends who are sober, they are less chaotic, but they have not changed. Like, it's just man.
It's just like once you get sober, it's like, okay, cool. Now I have to do therapy for fucking 6 years.
No, the other thing is, okay, cool. That the guy that sometimes would just be shiftless and weird is now every 9th time just in a fiery rage.
Yeah, man, you stop drinking, the anger comes out. But like,
oh man,
I don't know. The year of Punk is great because like everything that CM Punk did was really good, because I think he's a really great wrestler. But
yeah,
everything that happened around him turned out bad because Tony Khan very obviously was like,
it's very interesting when you look back.
This is the face of our company now.
Exactly. So there was a bunch of big mistakes, I think, made. Here's the initial one.
Which is what got MJF pissed off in the first place, because he was like, I'm the face of this company, motherfucker. I'm fucking 26. This guy's 44.
Absolutely. And I think that they really spaffed the old Wadaruski on this with CM Punk. If they had literally positioned him and kept him away from everyone, kind of like Sting almost.
Or like The Undertaker. Like, you don't need a title. You're fucking CM Punk.
And also, you don't need to be there every week. The other thing is very clear is Tony Khan got a new, like, it was literally like AEW was a toy box of wrestling figures. Tony Khan is an 11-year-old, and they finally put out a CM Punk.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, CM Punk's got to wrestle. Like, they could have literally built, like, how quickly CM Punk has a match with Darby Allin. You know what I mean? Like, all of that sort of stuff. Like, they could have had the first match be CM Punk wearing that Sting makeup with Darby Allin. You know what I mean? Like do it that way and a lot slower. I think is kind of what they should have done.
I
I
think
know it's
everything was great. I just think that CM Punk, when it came time to like, okay, we built you for a year, you get to win, and then now it's like time. Now that we've built CM Punk beats people, now it's time for you to essentially go on your fucking victory lap of like, I'm gonna fucking job to every single person.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because it's like, then you just have another Jericho. Because Jericho's like bombing or not bombing, but like Jericho's like losing, but then he's just back on TV for 15 minutes again the next
Yes,
fucking
Ric
night.
Flaring it up. Well, again, what I also think
It is Ric Flair. It's like we don't have any other ideas of what to do. Let's put this guy out there who, if you're in the wrestling bubble, if you're a wrestling fan,
go ahead.
you see Chris Jericho on television, you're like, this is going to be awesome. Right? But if you're a normal person and you click by and you see Chris Jericho, you think, what the fuck happened to that guy's fucking chest? Get a fucking, like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Body shaming is not okay.
No, but it's specific. I know exactly what you're talking about. Which
you have to have young men, like it's like young people. You need young people on a.
No, you had it right the first time, man.
If you're doing a play that is based around these people are good at fighting, you need young fucking people there. There's a reason why Vin Diesel gets fat when he's not doing a Fast and Furious and then does a cycle or goes on a diet, even though he's 50, and just gets that shit cleaned up and then fucking does a Fast and Furious. Like,
yeah,
you need people who look like they can fight. Chris Jericho, and unfortunately, all the bad shit we say about Chris Jericho is going to age bad because he's going to do a lion salt and die one week.
Yeah.
Every single lion salt he does is so much closer to death than the last.
Very possible. I also actually.
But legit, someone's gonna fucking not tighten those ropes. He's dead. The person who tightens those ropes should fucking literally get $100,000 a year, because if they don't tighten them well one time, Chris Jericho will die.
I'm gonna tell you this, and we'll all, when he dies, think, that could have happened before he became the Ocho.
I get it. Like, having Chris Jericho in Ring of Honor is dope, I guess.
But then do Ring of Honor. This is the other thing with AEW, and this is the main issue that they have.
Well, they're trying to get new TV for Ring of Honor, apparently.
Okay, but then do a better job. Then you have access to web shows and online. You don't need Dark and Dark Elevation. Make one of those a Ring of Honor television show. Do I have to fucking do everything? Do you understand? Like, they have eyes.
But the reason they have Dark and Dark Elevation is because literally it's just an hour of Dark matches and it's no sunk cost. They don't have to have a separate set. Like, the whole thing is like, okay, we'll use the old Ring of Honor set once you give us money to put on this television show. But and if you want to look at ratings, for USA Network and for TNT, like, here's how safe wrestling is, guys. While television, which I don't think television's going anywhere, while television is still around, Raw, even though it sucks, it's 3 hours long. It's too fucking long.
Yeah, but there's a specific reason why.
3 times as many people watch Raw as watch anything else on USA Network.
Yeah.
On a Monday.
The thing with wrestling is it has a built-in specific audience.
Yeah, always.
I completely agree with you on all of that sort of thing. But when you know that, it's hampering the product and it is confusing. In the same way that when you go, who the fuck is this guy with his weird fucking body talking about how he's a wizard, Chris Jericho, when he's also got a championship that is not for the company you're watching and you're just flicking by, it's so confusing. AEW relies way too much on people seeing things like being the elite, all of that sort of stuff. So much of its storytelling is completely and totally to do with people following everything to do with the program, and they need to stop doing that. They need to start making every angle have a explainable reason within a sentence. Why is Matt Hardy sad? Jeff Hardy was hired by this company and, of course, is doing his favorite thing, pills.
I mean, what they need to do is they need to fucking do, which is funny because Tony Khan was reaching out to Jim Cornette to be like, please, because Jim Cornette's shitting on him every week, and literally Tony Khan went, then fucking come right with me. And I think that's exactly. It's so funny. It's like they need to obey the fucking Cornet rule. I think of it as like a Cornet rule of 20, where you only have 20
I
wrestlers that
agree
can
with
be
you.
featured on your show, and you do the territory thing, which is you could have people come in and out. Oh, this guy's run was 6 months last time. Now it's 4. Like, you know what I mean? You can do that. That's how you keep people fresh. But you need which I think is what Tony Khan's trying to do. But you keep 20 wrestlers that are your
I completely
main
agree. Can I
people.
add? Can I add something to your brilliant idea? First time ever for you
Mm-hmm.
to have a good idea. Is you put them all on contracts with a certain amount of dates for the length of the contract that is under an NDA. If you mention this, you're fired. Do not tell Dave Meltzer. Do not tell anyone. If this information
Yeah,
is
that's great.
leaked, fuck you, you're fired. And there will be an investigation. And if it turns out it wasn't you, then you get to come back. And the reason why you do that is AEW was so good for that last year of Punk, partly because every 3 to 4 weeks for like 4 months, they just had a surprise entrance. And here's something that no one talks about that's the best part of being a wrestling fan is when you're watching it and then they literally just play, Who am I?
They still do
I
that though.
am Keith Lee. Yeah, but the problem with it
That's the problem is that they do that
no,
too much. Now they're soured on it. The last surprise was Jeff Jarrett, and everyone was like, "What?"
yeah, but exactly. It's Jeff Jarrett. That's the thing is they need to start surprising people with their guys. They have been a wrestling company long enough that it's you don't need to bring things from the ecosystem out
Mm-hmm.
in. You need to
Yeah,
reintroduce what you have. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Like there's this
Like
whole thing.
Hangman was the only one where it's like they did their Money in the Bank thing, which leaves me. But like, they had Hangman come back for the match, and it was like, okay, well, that's pretty dope. Like that, he was the only return, like AEW returning wrestler who got that big pop. And then of course Kenny and the Bucks. It'll be interesting though, because like, I guess we'll close up on this.
I want to close on the how do you think they're bringing them back? And
Oh
when
no, I wanted to talk about something different, which
Oh.
was when your friend and mine, Colt Cabana, came out to
Woo!
wrestle Jericho. That was an interesting reaction because it was everyone was excited to see Colt, obviously, but it's also symbolic in like they're like, oh fuck, I guess CM Punk is actually done.
Yeah. And that
So it was very interesting
it was very interesting. I have a
because you
question
could see
for you.
people cheering, and then you could see other people being like, oh fuck.
I'm very happy because my friend Cole Cabana,
I think it makes for a more cohesive wrestling company, and I think that
I think it does too. Do you
CM
think
Punk is
in your actual honesty, take all the emotion out of it? What do you think is the better decision? To have CM Punk in your wrestling company or to have the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega? Who would you pick?
I think you pick. This is very interesting because I think you pick.
Take all the emotion out of it. This is because I was thinking about this because for me, it's so weighed in the fact that I have a, you know what I mean? But like there's a part of it where it's just like, well, it involves my friend. But if you remove all the emotion from it, who do you pick? The moves the needle and in ring.
So here's the thing. What are we talking about? Are we talking about the holistic view of them, or are we talking about them just on television as wrestlers? And
Just
there
on
are
television as
there are
wrestlers first.
oh, then CM Punk.
CM Punk.
But if you
Now,
take it out of television
there we
and
go.
everything, then the Elite, because they first of all, your company no longer makes any sense. You've lost all the ties to everything. All Elite wrestling makes no sense anymore. Now it's like fucking.
Hmm.
And I think we underestimate how like CM Punk, and we've said this analogy a ton of times, but CM Punk started this thing, started like basically
Yeah.
drawing attention to indie wrestlers and shit like that, but it's clearly outgrown him,
It's also
and he's not that guy anymore. Like the style that CM Punk. Our early ROH was very much old NWA. That's what they were trying to bring back was like pro wrestling, late 80s, flair, funk, rough style,
Are
fucking
you ready for
Philly pro wrestling.
an even more specific thing that I think they were trying to bring back?
What?
Ring of Honor was just the 3 undercard matches of peak golden era ECW. What if we just
Yeah.
did Chris Benoit versus Eddie Guerrero, but that's every match? Wait, so one of the opponents.
The idea was
and-
Jerry Lynn. Like Jerry Lynn was
Yes,
the
Jerry
ROH
Lynn.
wrestler.
Yeah, which by the way, if that is who their ideal wrestler was, they were more successful than any other company has ever been.
Yeah,
I've said it
'cause they
before,
just
I'll say
got
it again. Jerry Lynn is the definition of a 6 out of 10. That guy's okay.
Oh, he's just like he's the guy where it's like you get the tag team where it's one guy who cannot wrestle but is fucking like Jerry Lynn would have been the best partner for Road Dogg ever, where it's like,
Oh my
fucking
God!
showcase
That
Road
would
Dogg.
still be the champion. That guy, that would Vince McMahon would have never stopped love. Ha 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 ha.
But just like execute very well professional wrestling. Absolutely no charisma attached.
Literally, they wouldn't even have to have opponents. They could literally just do Road Dogg does a promo outside the ring, and Jerry Lynn just shows people how good he is at bumping. And I understand how good.
He had one of the coolest finishing moves ever, the cradle pile driver. No one cared. No one. But anyway, Jerry Lynn. What were we talking about? Anyway,
Ring of Honor into AEW, the Elite versus
so
CM Punk.
I think CM Punk also, if you're looking at just from an in-ring perspective, I think it's very good for you to get as many people off of television as possible. So you've now saved 2 spots for 2 separate people by even just calling the Young Bucks altogether. I think CM Punk is in-ring more of a step in a direction that you need, which is we have enough guys who are like really good between the ropes. We need somebody who like, here's a microphone, go eat up 10 minutes, and it's a different part of our show because we have so many wrestlers who can just fucking go put on
say this
4 to 5 star matches
right now. Dylan,
and this is why people hated indie wrestling in the fucking 2000s.
Fucking identified why AEW bothers me is they could absolutely do this. They have managers.
But that's what they were built on.
Yeah, but they
do have managers. That is a very good thing.
What they need to do is pivot a bit
they need
more.
to get back on television. If we want to talk real,
go ahead.
Fucking talk real. They need to get Arn Anderson back. Why the fuck is Arn Anderson off television?
I completely agree. Why is also here's my question.
Glock Anderson, Armed Anderson fucking comes on there, literally cuts the promo of the fucking year last year. But as soon as as soon as CM Punk came in, Arn Anderson, like basically,
you want a conspiracy
CM Punk
theory?
took Cody's spot.
You want a conspiracy theory?
Sure.
I'll go to you. So here's my conspiracy theory. Arn Anderson was John Cena's guy. John Cena's ring agent, the guy who put together all of his matches, was Arn Anderson. The reason Arn Anderson supposedly, like Vince McMahon just wanted them fucking fired for years because Arn Anderson apparently, allegedly, supposedly, internet nerd wrestling boy John, going off of conjecture of like, actually, Vince, we're not doing that. Like he was that guy because it's Arn Anderson. And he's like, listen to me right now. I've been married. My best friend is Ric Flair.
I saved all my money. I'm married. I don't care.
I bought a house in the 80s in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah, I own multiple houses.
Yeah.
This is filled with wine. I'm not doing that.
I do not love my kids. There is nothing to keep me here.
My wife raised my kids. I'm not informed of their middle names.
Yeah, on purpose. I assume their last name is Anderson, even though that is not my actual last name. Why Arn Anderson is not being utilized more? And here's the more important question. Why in the name of fuck did you bring William Regal out to stand next to Jon Moxley as he walks through the crowd? Also, stop having Jon Moxley walk through the crowd. It's cheap and weird, and I hate it. If you're going to have someone come through the crowd, it has to be a surprise. It has to be without security, and the camera needs to stay in the ring. If not, what it looks like is, this guy's so rebellious, he told a producer to let security know he's going a different way.
I disagree with the
go ahead
through the crowd thing. But William Regal, I think, totally makes sense. I think the Blackpool Combat Club, like a lot of stuff in AEW, is just, oh fuck, we got too many wrestlers. These guys.
But then
it reminds me so much of like there's that old wrestling booking text-based game I used to play in my 20s called Extreme Warfare Revenge, and I would be like so pumped because in the game they would have WWF contracts and I'd create my own company. And at the beginning of my company it was exactly like AEW. I had like 3 good guys, a bunch of guys who like were just good.
Mm-hmm.
They were in my company and they were okay, and then just some shitty guys.
And the CEO was a virgin.
And the CEO was a sex haver. And and the WWE contracts would let up. And at the beginning, I would sign fucking anybody because they were just in WWE. Just by virtue of that in the game, they were like basically better than the guys I already had. So I'd sign up all these guys. But then the actual guys that I really did want, their contracts would come up and I would sign them. And then I get to this point where I'd be like, oh, fuck, I have too many guys. And guys that I was super looking forward to signing, I would end up being like, I guess he's in a stable now? Like, and it's just like, this guy fucking bought up all these contracts because he thought these guys weren't going to be available. And Vince McMahon, great legacy is, he did drown AEW in talent.
It is insane.
He drowned them in talent.
Yeah, that he basically...
Tony Khan never had a list of, like, here are the guys I want, and everyone else I'll ignore. He just was like, oh, fuck this. Which inherently makes your fucking roster look like shit because now you're fucking Brian Cage, who was like Brian Cage was one of their dudes to begin with, and he was fucking off TV for a while.
It's
They
true.
didn't even use him.
And even the way that they've positioned Brian Danielson, as Brian Danielson was like,
But
and
why isn't Brian Danielson the fucking champ? Brian
why
Danielson,
Brian
you're
Danielson
fucking Brian
champ?
Danielson.
Well, I don't understand. Listen,
Dude, they got Brian Danielson, they got CM Punk, and they forgot about Brian Danielson. I think that's
Yeah,
the fucking.
that's
It's crazy.
Because
Unless they're
it's
not
also-
giving him shit because they think he might get concussed at any moment and have to stop wrestling. That I can understand.
that I could also understand, but it's also that thing of if you have the Blackpool Combat Club, what I've never understood the logic of is for John Moxley to be the champion, you have two opponents that are matches that wrestling. Like I, as a wrestling fan, who isn't going to buy an AEW pay-per-view, if you told me it's Brian Danielson versus John Moxley in a best 2 out of 3 fall match on a pay-per-view, I would buy that because it's going to be Brian Danielson kissed his wife and child and went, "Today I die."
They did that. That's how the Blackpool Combat Club was formed. They had a good match, but like
I know that's how exactly.
CM
So
Punk, every single thing about CM Punk was so. They rented out the United Center just to have him. Not that CM Punk, and I think this gets lost a lot. CM Punk is a bigger star than Brian Danielson. That is 100% true.
yes, because also
They sold out the United Center on a rumor that he was going to be there. CM Punk comes out. Literally, Rampage is just CM Punk. That's the whole way they sell Rampage is CM Punk is here. Then he has then another separate thing is I'm going to wrestle Darby Allin. They have the Darby Allin match that does one of the best pay-per-views in the history of professional wrestling. Not fuck, Jesus Christ. In AEW. Now, here's what they did with Brian Danielson. Brian Danielson came out. I forget.
same pay-per-view. It was the same pay-per-view, was it not? It was All Out last year. He came out at the end. After
He came out at the end
if I'm
to
not
save
correct,
somebody.
CM Punk has debuted at that pay-per-view. Adam Cole
In ring.
debuted at that pay-per-view.
Yes, Adam Cole debuted, and then Danielson came out and was like, "I'm gonna fight you, Kenny Omega." Okay, so this is what happens. Then Danielson has those matches against Kenny Omega that were great. Kenny Omega is written out because Hangman Page beats him. So what they have to do with Danielson is they basically
Make Danielson Omega.
Moxley. No, because here's what happens. Moxley checks himself into rehab. So then they need a new big heel. Danielson has to turn heel and become a big heel. He does it amazingly. And then he fights Hangman twice. They have some great matches. But, like, you're putting Hangman in this, like, Hangman's the, like, I'm going to go get him babyface. And Danielson's just, like, a way better performer than
it's
him,
also
so he fucks
Danielson
him.
when he was the heel was like, I'm a really good wrestler, and everyone's like, he is. Are we
And
gonna
he
keep
was
going?
awesome.
I just need 1 second. Can I just do one thing 1 second, then we'll wrap this up?
No, we can just wrap it up.
All right, let's wrap it up.
You leave. I'll just finish my point, and then I'll wrap it up.
Ladies and gentlemen, we love you all. Thank you for supporting these chats. Dylan, wrap it up.
They need to. They never featured Bryan Danielson properly. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's something in the background. Maybe it's because of his health issues. But the fact that, like you said, CM Punk debuts at that thing, everything is great. The MJF promo and everything was awesome. The MJF feud that CM Punk did was one of the best feuds. Look, you can see the fucking shit I haven't filled in. Everything about that was awesome, but if one thing AEW needs to do, it's to put Bryan Danielson in the fucking title picture, because they have been around for a couple years now, and they've just not changed the title picture or the way the TV show looks.
Holy
at all.
shit, that's a really good point. Because that's actually the thing I was noticing as I was going through it, is that they actually have
They haven't
done
changed shit.
different iterations of the set, but I'm like, no, you actually need to change what the set is. They also need to stop doing the heel and babyface entrance ramps. I think that's stupid.
Yeah, that's a weird one. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff about AEW I like, but like you're getting into like it was so good for a hot second there, and now it's just like fine, and you're just trying to like bump it back up. And really, what it needs is, which we've talked about before, Tony Khan needs to hand the booking over to someone else, because he's clearly gone crazy by doing 9 things at the same time.
I also don't think that Jim Cornette is the solution, by the way. I understand. Like, I think that Jim Cornette.
That was just one idea. You just need a
No, I
book.
completely agree with you, and we'll wrap this up. It's just I just finally can talk about AEW because I actually finally watched the fucking product, because good lord, do you know how hard that was, by the way, especially when it was like really good for like 6 months, and it was just like, yep, here it's fun, here it's a good time.
Hey man, but that's the thing.
But here's what I will say, and I completely is, You need a Jim Cornette type, but what you really just need is people that didn't just love indie wrestling for the last 10 years. Do you know what I'm saying? Like they actually, if we could, they need like a TNA fan, guys that love the WWE, someone who can make a spreadsheet and someone who can write with grammar and sentences, and AEW is untouchable because what you just need is basically a bunch, like there's so many things that they're not doing. They also don't know a bunch of their talent because like Tony Khan is being told like this guy's good, but it's like the acclaimed thing is so fascinating in that like I think that like that's already getting boring in a way, but it's also very
They
exciting.
definitely need more shit like the acclaimed, where they trust their own stuff. And like Eddie Kingston, I guess Eddie Kingston got in a couple backstage things, so that's why it's dulled him. But it's like Eddie Kingston, they still kind of have him on TV, even though he's clearly like one of their best wrestlers. Like there was a point where like they could have totally just been like Eddie Kingston beats Hangman for the title 100%, and that would have been amazing. But like they're just kind of stuff where we're going to be the wrestling company that actually listens to the fans, and then the fans tell them certain things and they don't like it, and then they just don't do those things.
I think that's a great point. I think the other thing that they need to do is take a page out of ECW's book when it comes to people like Eddie Kingston, is stop worrying about title picture and start worrying about just making everything personal. And with someone like Eddie Kingston,
Well, that's what they did with Eddie Kingston. It's just like
you need to keep doing it with Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston needs to just come out and be like, I don't fucking like you. I think you're a fucking loser.
But also Sammy Guevara getting in like a bunch of backstage confrontations and them still featuring him.
It's so weird.
for
Also,
some
Sammy
reason.
Guevara. Well, it's because Sammy Guevara is loved by Chris
He's
Jericho.
one of their, yeah, and he's one of their fucking guys they decided was the pillars of their company.
Who are the four? It's Darby, Sammy, MJF,
Darby,
Jungle Boy.
Sammy, and yeah, and Jungle Boy. And Jungle Boy, they're trying to do it with, but it's like, I mean, I
They're
get
doing it wrong.
having
They're doing
Jungle
it wrong.
Boy.
They're doing it fucking wrong.
I think they're doing it well. I'm gonna
I
leave.
disagree
though.
entirely.
I'm out of
I know
time.
we both need to leave, but we'll do this again. But you're fucking wrong. Come back to the chat next time when Dylan. This will be my impression of me. I'm right. This is my impression of Dylan. I'm a baby.
The entire reason fucking Jungle Boy's getting pushed is because he's Luke Perry's goddamn kid. And God bless it, I've lost my dad too, and I know that's rough, but like, he's a hot guy too, which no one's fucking not debating. But it's
Okay, as
just
long
like,
as we're not debating that.
he reeks to me of like Alex Riley.
Oh God, I want to talk about this. I
The Miz.
no.
The Miz